Hey guys, it's Caleb from Rokblokz. Today up on the lift we have a 15 to 19 Ford F-150. We're going to show you how to install our step back mud flap kit, so let's get right into it. So the tools you'll need to do the install on your step backs is you may need a marker to mark. We have a couple assortments of insert pullers or just a side cutter to cut the head off so you can remove them. You'll need a 5.5mm socket, a 12mm socket, a ratchet for your sockets, a Phillips head screwdriver, a level, and a couple Allen keys. You'll need a 4 and an 1/8 inch or 3mm, and then we'll need something to drill with. You'll need to drill up to 3/8 1/2 inch holes, and then some thread locker, and that's all the tools that you'll need to complete your install. So here we have the front laid out. What you'll get is your front metal bracket, the upper portion of your step back. You'll get your step back flap. These will be oriented so that the slash is on the inside of the flap. You'll get your material backing plate, which is made as the same material as our mud flap, and that's going to allow for the install to happen easy. The hardware you're going to get is, now that you've seen what's coming in your kit, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to prepare this flap for installation just right here on the bench. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our M6 clips and we're going to put those on our backing plate to start. We're going to put them on the side without etching so that the extruded portion comes back on that side. And then we'll put it so it's like that. And these slots are so you're able to get your clips in place and just align them with the holes. And we'll do the same with the bottom here. We'll put it in from the top and kind of just slide it over. These ones have adjustability in and out, so that way it aligns with your holes in the truck without any issue. You need a little bit of adjustability there just to make sure that everything plays nicely. And then we'll put the last one on, and that also can be adjusted side to side as well. And then for this upper hole, we're actually going to bend the tab towards the front side, the side with the etching. Just going to bend it like so, and that will make more sense once we get it up into the truck. Now what we're going to do is we're going to prep our step back flap with the flange nuts. So we're going to take it, we're going to flip it to the back side. We're going to take our number 10 flange nuts and we're just going to press those into the hex shaped holes. So optionally, this customer opted for us to make the logos stand out, and if you opt for that as well, it's an option on our website. We'll send you with strips of vinyl, and we're going to show you how to prepare those and put those on right now. So we're just going to peel the vinyl strip off, and now that we flip the flap over so that the flange nuts are on the smooth side, the side without the etching, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our vinyl just in between the holes, just centering it there, centering it right here, and centering it here, and then we'll just press it flat. Now we're going to go ahead and prep the flap to be installed on the bracket. We're going to take our thread locker. We're going to put just a tiny little dab on each of the screws. So now that we've got that all prepped, we're going to slide it up into position. Put our screws through.
Take some time, gonna make her mine, gonna make her mine. I'm the man, I got the plan. When it hits the fan, do all I can, do all I can.
Alright, with those all started, we're going to go ahead, adjust it so that it's square and even with the edges, like so. And then now we're going to go ahead and fully tighten this down. And how we want to do this is you want to go until you feel that it starts to tighten up, and you'll see the flange of the nut start sinking into the material. It should only take about a couple of turns, turn and a half maybe, and then it gets nice and snug. Don't need to over tighten these. That's what the thread locker is for, to help keep it in place, and that will just compress into the flap. Alright, so that's the proper way to install your flap onto your step back. If you have the nuts on the opposite side, you're going to have a bad time. The flange here is what the flap is relying on keeping it captured and pressed up against the bracket. So if it's on the other side, the flap will just work its way off of the nuts. So make sure that your flange nuts are on the inside, and then you're good to go. Okay, so first step, we got to get in behind here to remove a screw from right here, and then this one you can gain access to without removing the fender. So what we're going to do is there's an insert here on the bottom. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get that pulled out. You can use some pliers or some insert pullers to get that out, which is going to free up some space for us to open this up. And now you can come take a look. See those screws? We're going to remove that screw and that screw right there, and then we're going to return this back to its original position, and then we're going to match drill into the plastic here, just into the plastic. We don't need to go into the metal at all, just so that our screws can pass through there, and then we'll begin by mounting our bracket. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Alright, great. Now that we've got those two removed, we'll set those to the side. We won't be reusing them. Now we're going to remove the one on the inside, right up in here. We'll set that with our front material bracket, and then that will help to install that later. So now what we're going to do is drill those holes. To do this, you can take a Sharpie and mark your location if you want, or I'm just going to go ahead and match drill it by setting it into position, aligning it, and then I'm just going to drill the hole a little oversized. You'll need a minimum of a 1/4 inch hole for this, so that way the M6 screws can pass through. But if you open it up to about 3/8 or 1/2 inch, it buys you a little bit of a leeway. So now we're going to go ahead and get right up in here. So right about there. There we go. Dust the extra plastic off. Now we're going to go ahead and take our material bracket. I'm going to tuck this behind the fender's edge and in front of the liner. And then our bent tab up here at the top is going to correspond with the hole up here in the fender. This has two holes. The bottom one is for the 250/350, and then the upper one is for the F-150. Get that started. We're going to take our 30 mils and we're just going to put these in here beforehand, just to get everything lined up before we lock the top in place. With it, you may have to do some adjustment, sliding the clip in and out on those panels. That's why they're adjustable. So we can get them lined up. Alright, so we pulled that into place just by securing those for a second, and now we're going to pull them back out, and that should help really align all your holes and make it easier when you have the flap up in place. So now we're just going to take those back off and start mounting our flap. Alright, now before we mount the flap, we're going to take it and we're going to put it over our thigh and just give it a little pre-bend to match the curvature of the fender, and that will really help it conform. It doesn't take much, and I usually just use my thigh because it's a nice soft surface. It's going to help create that. You don't need to bend it crazy sharp. So now let's go ahead and start mounting it. Let's start with this middle hole here.
I'm the man, I got the plan. When it hits the fan, do all I can, do all I can. Well, she lets her hair down. She drives me wild, and she looks in my eyes. Hell yeah!
Alright, now that we've got those four lightly in place, we're going to go ahead and make our final adjustments, and then we'll fully tighten that down, and then we'll fully lock the bracket in place up here. So let's go ahead, get our level, and we'll make those adjustments.
I don't care, it's a double dare. I ain't scared, you best beware, you best beware. It's alright, she's in my side, I got all night, so just...
Now with everything locked in place, that's how you install the front. Repeat those same steps for the other side, and now we're going to move on to the rear. So here we have the rear laid out. What you're going to get in your kit is you're going to get your rear flap bracket for the step back portion. You're going to get your step back flap that mounts to the bottom, and then you're going to get your mounting bracket, which is going to go inside the fender. The hardware that you're going to get is 4 30mm speakers. You're going to get 2 of these 3.5-inch 4 bolts, 2 quarter-inch lock nuts, 2 small washers, 5 of the inch core washers, a nylon clip, a 1-inch number 14 screw, 8 number 10 flange nuts, and 8 quarter-inch number 10 screws. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and put this rear together. Just like the front, we're going to go ahead and press in our flange nuts. So we're going to flip our flap over to the side without etching, and then we're just going to go ahead and press those in. Now that we've got all those pressed in, we're going to go ahead and flip that over so we can prep this side with the vinyl like we did the front. Peel our strip, center it on our flap. There we go. Now we're going to prep our nuts with some thread locker. Now we're going to go ahead and mount that up to our flap. Alright, we'll get that started, and now we're going to do what we did on the front and just tighten them until they're nice and secure, until they start setting into the flange. Okay, nice and snug. Alright, there we go, nice and snug. Now we can take that one and mount it up on the rear. Alright, so now that we're at the rear of the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and prep our fender for installation. What we need to do is get in here and remove this insert. So we just cut it, and then if we remove this number 10 down here, we can pull the fender out and pop that out. So we'll take our 10 mil, we're going to undo that bolt. That undone, we can go ahead and we're just going to pop the head of this insert out. Now with that out, we'll take our 1/4" drill bit and we're going to match drill coming from the back side through the plastic here. There we go. Now we're going to take our backing plate bracket and mount that using the OEM 10mm bolt. So that's going to go up in place right here, just underneath the insert. We're going to tuck it so that the insert goes over top. Get it in place like so. And that's going to align with the hole right here. And this will be your inner mounting point. So now we'll go ahead and just snug that down. There we go. Now we're going to take our nylon clip and we're going to put that over the fender right here, aligning the hole with the hole we just created. That's going to be our bottom mounting point. So now let's go ahead, take our 1" screw with a washer, and then we'll need our screwdriver, our Phillips head screwdriver, and we're going to go ahead and screw that into that bottom mounting point. Now we're going to take our 3.5" screw, and this is going to go for both of them. So we're going to take it, put a washer on it, we're going to put a washer on the inside, and then we're going to put 2 of our 30mm spacers on the screw on the inside as well. Now this hole is going to go through the fender and through the bracket behind the fender. And then we'll grab our lock nut and small washer and just get that started by hand. And we're going to do the same thing for that inner mounting hole there. Now we're going to go ahead, lift it into position, start snugging them down, and before it's fully tightened, we'll make our adjustments so that it stays in place, and then we'll fully lock it down. Now we're just checking for level, and we're going to do our final tightening. Alright, with that fully tightened, you're good to repeat those same steps on the other side, and that's how you install your Rokblokz step back mud flap.